can see how our line's starting to work back out here. As we get it situated, why it will lay itself down even better. See, we're down still just a little bit, maybe right through here. We could come up, but that brings us our nice smooth curve back. And any imperfections, like I say, that little one right there, we still got. But that will be taken care of by the time we finish final sizing everything. I'll probably bring that flange up just a little bit more right there. But we can come back and do that later. Come on, where are you? There we go. Still got quite the little. Yeah, our flange is down just a little bit right in through here too. Right there on our flange, so as we come around that corner, like I say, we'll have to trim this back, but now we'll very slowly work this, and we have a nice smooth contour all the way through. You know, a little bit of massaging there, we're a little bit down right there still through those, but once this comes down into place, we trim this back, it will continue to transition on over the way it's supposed to. So yeah, that will be fine right there. And then we won't do final trim on this until we mount the wing. We won't mount these these root rib skins until we've got the wings mounted, because this sits right across the skylight here. So I'm going to go ahead and work this a little bit more, and I'll slowly start trimming this back to come on around the corner. And it's coming along. So we'll make a little more progress and we'll show you where we're at and what we've done. But the general consensus is that I need to, let's bring this down here so we can see a little bit better. Yeah, see, so we'll start trimming this top edge up here. And once we get it worked on around, we'll go ahead, we'll rivet it as we go. We got quite a bit to trim here. And once we get down to the bottom, then there's a little crease across here. We'll bend it. This is for the other wing, but we'll bend it just like that. And that's the way it will set in place. So now it's just going to be slowly trim this contour around, and until we get it to work on down there. We'll just massage it on in place. And I think a smaller rivet fan's big enough for this. Okay. We've already got clecos that fit top and bottom. And I still have to finish trimming this edge, but we've got it to where it lays down past most of the stuff there. So and normally I like to split the difference, but since we want to hold tension, why we'll just go ahead and do from end to end. She's not going any place now. And there we've got a nice tension part all the way along. Still got a little bit down right there, but there again, like I say, once we get those properly sized, get the rest of this pulled down the way it's supposed to be. So there's the back part of it. Now all we've got's the nose section here. A little bit close for this, I think, but all I'm doing is just trimming it so that it sets down around that nose, and we'll just continue to trim it and work it right on down. So we want to be sure and trim enough to where we're tension tight around that root rib, the nose of that root rib. And I've just been going along and marking what I thought we needed to trim away to get it to set down there. I think we can come right on down there. And we've got enough material we can straighten this all up. Boy. And what I will probably do is I'll probably fit this down to the front as far as I can, and then I'll probably flip it over to do the final fit on it, just because it'll be a little bit easier. I may change my mind on that, but that's kind of what I'm thinking right now. Just like that. And yep, we're going to have lots to fit on down there. So that will be just fine. Now this will all get final smoothed up, and I'll redo the edges before we do the final riveting in place, but get part of this cleaned up a little bit. go. Give us a nice little radius there so we don't crack out. And there again, it'll get final deburred when before we install it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just continue to work this down. I'll start riveting around the top of this, or this root rib, around the nose of it. It's awful tight in there, so we want to make sure it's tight. And then we'll relieve this just a little bit more, I think, although that looks pretty good for initial fit up. We'll probably relieve it a little bit back when we do the final polish on it. And we'll start working down this nose rib. Once we get it that far, I'll probably flip it over, like I say, and go ahead and finish the bottom side. But anyway, that's nicely tensioned all the way through there. That will lay down real nice once it's finished. So there we go. There you can clean this up. Clean our Sharpie marks off of here so we don't confuse any of them. Don't need that one anymore. That line was just to show this line going down through. So we'll just continue to work it right on down. And I'll work this down as far as I can, and then I'll bring you back, show you a picture of that, and then, like I say, I think we'll flip it over. Well, here's the top of the skin cleat in place. I got a little dish here, like I say, a little bit of adjustment. By the time everything is drilled oversized, final tuned and everything, it will all lay down very nicely, I think. So we got our contour, we're nice and tight down here. Now this gets rolled on under the bottom and then it's got that bend on it. So I think just for ease of doing it, I'm probably going to clean everything out and we'll flip it over and at least get that far. That may be all I do tonight because I've got to clean everything up off of the table to flip it over again. But anyway, that's what she looks like. That's relatively easy process, you know. And this and the wingtip, there's a little bit of fiddling with them just because you've got to put your crimps in and get everything to get all your contours to match and everything. But it's not that difficult a process once you get into it. I'll give you a little pan of the whole thing, I think, and see what it looks like. But it lays down pretty nice. I'm pretty happy with that. There's no rivets that go on the bottom. All there is a crease. And they say you can just crease it over the edge of a table in the build manual, but we're going to do our fancy little bending break and just lightly break it. Now I've marked the line where or the bend line. So to make it easier, we're going to trim this sheet because we want our bend line on the other side. We need to straighten up this cut anyway. And we may change this, but this will give us lots of material to work with. So if we use that as a cut line, and see, this is one of those that if I had the bench cleared off or had another bench set up, I would just cut this with an Olfa knife rather than snips, but this will work fine. So now, since we've used the width of our ruler for a gauge to cut, and we use that off of our bend line, we can take and put our ruler right here like this. And mark our bend line. On this side. And we'll use the big bending brake only because it was easier to get to than the small one. If I can do this so you can still see what's going on too. And if we have to, we'll flatten it out a little bit more again. And that's it. Looks pretty good. So we'll go ahead, cleco it back in place, and see what it looks like here. Well, this is the nose on the bottom of that root rib that we were installing. And we're all pretty well installed. I've trimmed a little bit here for clearance to mount the front spar to it. It'll get probably clearance back here, but basically all I'm doing for right now is I'm just going to open these all up to A4 size rivets, or 1/8 inch rivets, and that's all we're doing, just oversizing them, and or not oversizing them, but putting them to proper size. I'm going to flip the wing back over, and we'll do the same thing to the other side, and then that's all I'm doing to this for now. They'll still have to be released, cut out to mount the rear spar to it. This will have to be cleaned up. We'll have to deburr and prime everything, but we're not ready to install it yet anyway. Now I did notice that as I was starting to edit the videos I shot yesterday, this camera's having a little bit of problem focusing on part of the time, so you're going to get a little bit of video out there with that one that's going to be a little bit out of focus. Hopefully this will be cured this time. And let's see, looks like we're still staying in focus. I still got it set on autofocus, so it'll have to be I'll have to figure out my settings and start setting that to manual focus. But it's you know, kind of gives you an idea of how I fit these up. Of course, everybody's mileage is going to vary. Do your own due diligence. This is not a training video to show you how to do it. This is just documenting my build and giving you maybe some ideas that you could utilize when you're doing a build. And it also shows some of the differences as I see them between scratch building and kit building. So there's the bottom. We'll take and flip this wing over, and we'll do the same thing to the top side, and then we'll be done with this part of it. Okay, all we're doing is going to stagger along and oversize each of these holes to the next cleco size. And then we're going to be done with this little process here. Actually, we can get rid of part of these clecos. We're still going to cleco every hole just to make sure that it keeps tension on and stays aligned the way it's supposed to. And there we go. There's our nose skin, or our root rib skin all fitted until we put it on. You know, it'll trim clear back to here. Bottom side will have to have some clearances so we can bolt it up, but that's on the rear skin. A lot of that will be done final fitting in place. But we've got nice tension. This will, like I say, this will rest on top of the skylight there. We've got a nice curved skin around the front. Does real nice. It's nice and tensioned all the way along. A little bit low right there probably. But there again, that's not. Got a little bit right there we'll have to work out, but that will probably take care of itself when this skin is in place. But anyway, that's the way I fit a root rib skin. I'm happy with that. So anyway, next thing will be to spin it around and probably turn it over and start on the bottom side of the wingtip skin. So anyway, we're going to end this little portion of the video right here. And this is where we're at for right now. So hopefully you find this a little bit interesting. Comment, suggestions, leave them in the comment section for me below, guys. And as always, thanks for taking the time to watch.